Namaste, Herete, Salve. Whether you are new to our channel or a returning viewer, welcome to Veda Synthesis Salutis, your go-to channel for insights into digital health and innovations, and I am your host Suman Bhushan Bhattacharya. This video is a demonstration of a tool for verification and validation of clinical observations by checking whether they are interrelated. This is done by computing the similarities between the entities of defining relationships of the SNOMED city concepts that the observations represent. In case you need to learn more about these relationships, feel free to refer to the earlier videos posted in this channel. In this particular demo, entries are made into specific boxes meant for chief complaint, admission diagnosis, surgical procedure, and discharge diagnosis. The tool has been set up to accept only relevant clinical terms belonging to each of these. You can imagine yourself to be an attending physician or a resident or a nurse or a medical records department personnel and are doing a verification and validation of the entries before claims submission. You would also like to have the ICD-10 code for the discharge diagnosis to help you in finalizing your claims. This is an assumption made. Once entered, the user can review the entries they have made. On submitting the entries, the system verifies and validates whether the chief complaint and the admission diagnosis and surgical procedure, and the admission and discharge diagnosis match. The ICD-10 coding of the discharge diagnosis is also done. The entire action is automated in its entirety. A match is indicated through a solid green check symbol and a mismatch is indicated through a red warning symbol. Do note that a mismatch does not necessarily mean an error, since additional information beyond what is available from the concept definitions may be required. However, a match usually means that the entries are correct. The tool has a high sensitivity but lower specificity. So, a match is more dependable than a mismatch. That is what it means. Without further ado, let's try checking some entries for matches and mismatches. This tool is set up to accept only one entry per input box, all mandatory. Let us enter abdominal pain in chief complaint. Acute appendicitis in admission diagnosis. Appendectomy in surgical procedure. Note, we could have chosen appendicectomy instead. SNOMED City knows that they are the same. Appendicitis is what we will choose for discharge diagnosis. Note that the admission diagnosis and the discharge diagnosis are not the same from a string perspective. They are different terms. Let us click review data and our entries are displayed at the bottom and we can review them. Yes, this is what we have entered, and now we shall submit it for VNV. As you can see, it's almost instantaneous, but sometimes it takes a little time. All of them are correct, and we also have the ICD-10 code. This is of course of the discharge diagnosis, which you will recall is appendicitis. Okay, we will repeat it. Let us now check whether the tool is smart enough to catch for or check for mismatches. We will enter the following terms: headache in chief complaint and chronic appendicitis in admission diagnosis. We shall choose cholecystectomy for surgical procedure and another absurd entry of acute gastroenteritis for discharge diagnosis. We will review the data. Yes, this is all that we have entered. Let's submit for VNV, and instantaneously it reports back saying none of them match, which actually is true. They're not supposed to match, and there we have. And for chronic appendicitis, this is the diagnosis. Sorry, not the chronic appendicitis. Discharge diagnosis was, if you will recall, acute gastroenteritis, and this A09.9 is the code, ICD-10 code for acute gastroenteritis. Let's repeat it. For a third time, we shall check whether it is also able to. Now let us check the tool with a third set of terms: diarrhea and vomiting. For chief complaint, acute gastroenteritis. For admission diagnosis, in surgical procedure, let's put in gastroscopy. And for a discharge diagnosis, let's put in acute cholecystitis. On reviewing the data, yes, this is what we have entered. Submit for VNV, and as you can see, the chief complaint and admission diagnosis is correct, they have matched, but the admission diagnosis and surgical procedure do not match. We are not going to do any gastroscopy, sure, for gastroenteritis, especially acute gastroenteritis, and admission diagnosis and discharge diagnosis also do not match. But it has been able to code correctly the acute cholecystitis for the ICD-10 code. As you saw, the tool was generally able to correctly identify similarities indicated as matches. With more examples, you might find some mismatches that should have been otherwise. Therefore, mismatches are better treated as warning flags indicating the need for performing additional checks to ensure that the entries are correct. The tool can be modified to handle more than just complaints, diagnosis, and surgical procedures. It can even be made to handle bulk entries instead of individual ones. The underlying logic can also be incorporated into existing solutions to check entries as soon as they are entered. This type of tool can be used by institutions as part of their pre-submission quality checks and by payers, which could be third-party administrators or clearinghouses or insurers, for automated claims processing. As you have just visualized, SNOMED can help in automation in a myriad of ways by processing and interpreting the record entries to provide feedback even in real time. I hope this video has been useful in some way. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for updates such as these. If you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon and share it with your colleagues. Subscriptions and likes cost you no more than a few seconds, but helps encourage me to make more videos on digital health informatics. Thanks for watching, and until next time, cheerio.